welcome to Franchise Filter. I am Erica Farage with the International Franchise Association. Franchise Filter is really just meant to filter down all of the franchise news that you can use, what's happening in DC, in the States, with our members. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about state government relations. So my guest today is IFA's Vice President of State Government Relations, Jeff Hanscom. Jeff, welcome to Franchise Filter.
Thanks, Erica. Good to be with you guys, and good morning or good afternoon to everyone in the franchise world who may be tuning in, and happy to be with you.
Thanks, Jeff. So you deal, as I said, on state issues. There's a lot of talk this week about conflicts between the federal government, different states, localities, even in terms of reopening. Can you talk a little bit about what's going on in terms of reopening and what IFA is doing about it as well?
Sure. So I think as most folks are hopefully aware, IFA just recently undertook and published the Franchise Reopen Blueprint, which we put together at pretty breakneck speed, considering the size of the document and the size of the franchise community. But we put that together. That was released about a week and a half ago. Document that we're very proud of. We've gotten that up to the President's Reopen Task Force, of which IFA CEO Robert Crisanti is a member of. And we're also in the process of circulating that document to state governors and even local and state elected officials. So we endeavored there to create a blueprint just that franchisees and brands could look to in terms of what to think about as they begin to reopen. Obviously, the challenge that folks have been facing is the same one that we've been facing since the beginning of this pandemic, is that each and every state and sometimes each and every county or locality are doing things a little bit differently. So we're trying to position and help position franchisees and brands to be be able to hit the ground running with a set of recommendations about things to think about, whether that's PPE or how to transact and interact with consumers and keeping your employees safe and things like that. But actually, we just right before this is being filmed on a Tuesday, and right before this, I was on a webinar, a series that we're doing about the Reopen Blueprint. This webinar was focused on the salon and massage space, and some of those folks are having some really good luck getting in front of their local elected officials, ensuring that they can convey that, hey, we can open safely and we want to. So we think that the blueprint is really helping that process.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's important too is we looked at the different business sectors within IFA and sort of gave each of them their own set of recommendations with the help of members in each of those sectors. So hopefully that's helpful for our members. You can find that blueprint if you haven't already seen it at community.franchise.org. So following up on some other states, you and I have been dealing with California for quite some time now, actually, but particularly over the last year, working on Assembly Bill 5. And we just said, states are reopening. Legislators came back to Sacramento last week. Can you give us the latest on what's happening with AB 5?
Yeah, of course. And the California legislature came back, and obviously a little bit of a different fashion than they had been before, but they came back last Monday. And the vehicle that we had been working on to get what we thought a common sense, or at least the beginning of a common sense franchise exemption in place for AB 5 was scheduled for a hearing last Thursday in the Senate Labor Committee. And unfortunately, at the last minute, the chairman of that committee, who's also the author of the bill, decided to pull it off of the calendar. Primarily because we typically go up, we are typically at odds with, I should say, or don't always agree with the organized labor community on legislative priorities. AB 5 is obviously one of them, and the organized labor community in Sacramento, AB 5 is a very, sacrosanct to them. I mean, it's they view it as their largest legislative victory in a number of decades, so are very hesitant to allow any sort of changes or fixes or things like that, even no matter how common sense they may be. So long story short is that our legislative vehicle right now is in somewhat of a holding pattern. We're in the process right now of reassessing, stepping back and reassessing, what's the potential path, is there a potential path forward in 2020 we're really looking to craft a common sense franchise exemption that does not undermine the intent of AB 5 in terms of proper worker classification. We're simply working on a way to avoid any sort of misapplication or misinterpretation of AB 5 to the franchise model. So we think that, again, even though we're kind of in a holding pattern and things didn't go exactly as we wanted them to go on Thursday, we think we hopefully can find a path forward and are going to continue working on it. And, whether it's virtually or however it may be in this brave new world that we are in, something that we're going to continue working on in 2020. And the California session goes through the end of August, so we do have some time to hopefully, kind of come back together and see where we can go from here.
Yes, I know you were ready to testify via phone last Thursday, but
Yeah.
little bit of a plot twist there. But we're hopeful that this is not the end of the road in terms of clarifying AB5. So we'll continue to work there and need the help and engagement of our members in California as they, obviously first primary challenge is keeping their businesses open and or reopening their businesses, but certainly we'll need help on California clarification as well. For more information on AB5 and what you can do to help there, it's clarifyab5.org. So, Jeff, one other state that actually really just popped up over the last week or so here on our radar is Colorado. And if you're an IFA member and you're watching this, I am sure that you know a little bit about the joint employer issue, something that we've been dealing with for the last 5 years or so, and something that Colorado has decided to deal with during the last few weeks here, while the state begins to, reopen during this pandemic. Can you talk a little bit about what's happening in Colorado right now as it relates to joint employer?
Sure. Despite despite the timing, never not one to let a pandemic, I guess, or a crisis go to waste. The Colorado Department of Labor and Employment has undertaken a very significant attempt to change their rules regarding the test for joint employment in Colorado. They are basically trying to rewrite the rules so that they much more closely mirror what was in place under the Obama administration, which obviously was prior to the Department of Labor implementing the new rule, which we fully support. But Colorado is looking to go back to the interpretation of joint employer under the Obama administration, even with a little bit more of a broad interpretation, bringing in some of the David Weil Fisher workplace theories. So certainly a very concerning from a substantive standpoint for the franchise community, something that we are fully engaged on despite the time frame. Typically a rulemaking like this, you would expect a comment period to be a number of months for folks to really digest and engage in a substantive conversation with the department. This one is condensed to a matter of weeks. So we've got a coalition letter, which is really a kind of a hybrid comment and letter that we will be submitting to the department tomorrow. Upwards of 100 different brands have signed on for that, along with 20 to 25 national trade associations representing a very broad segment of the Colorado economy. And we're really expressing a couple different things. One is the concern about the timing of this. If you want to engage in this type of rulemaking, when the state is under a stay-at-home order, probably isn't the best time to do it.
Right.
And second is that let's just kind of slow down, pump the brakes here. Mm-hmm. Let's engage in a substantive conversation. Allow folks to figure out how a rule change like this may really impact the Colorado economy. So we're hopeful that letter will get some attention in slowing the process down. And we appreciate folks who may have already signed on to it as brands and franchisees who have taken action to get their comments into the folks in the Colorado department. So hopefully more to report on that soon, but certainly a concerning development given, just the overall timing of this, having to do this right now is somewhat of a head scratcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely concerning. But as you said, everyone activated, I think, very quickly. Our brands, other trade associations, definitely franchisees and franchisors in Colorado to submit comments as quickly as possible. So we're definitely hopeful for a delay there. So Jeff, this is Franchise Filter, our second edition of Franchise Filter. So filter adjacent, my last and maybe most important question for you is, how do you take your coffee?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, in a non-pandemic world, I typically take it just straight black. But being that we're all staying at home and we're all doing things that maybe we haven't done before, just this morning, my wife put together a new whipped coffee recipe, which was very, very tasty and a departure.
The Instagram craze whipped coffee.
Yeah, she's checked now the whipped coffee off. We've got the banana bread done. We've got all sorts of things going here at the Hanscom house. So usually it's black, but this morning was a departure from that. It was a whipped coffee. So both of which are very good.
There you go. Well, thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you, Jeff, for being on our second edition of Franchise Filter here. I appreciate it.
Sure. Thanks for having me, and thanks for everyone who watched. And hope to talk to you guys really soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks everyone for watching, and stay safe. And let us know if you need anything. Thanks so much.